big theme this year is trying to find data. So you just saw a lot of good data that the Whitson platform has that we would want to bring into PHDwin, but there's also the question of production data. And so I'm going to bring on right now Scott Hamilton from Energy Domain, and he's going to talk a little bit about their data production product and the services that they can offer to PHDwin clients to have a more effective analysis tool in our program, because you need data to run PHDwin, right? So we're trying to give y'all plenty of options, trying to bring people in front of y'all who have good data that can then share that data with you. And so we're going to bring him on in just a second. But again, if you have any questions about anything you've seen today, events@phdwin.com. If it's not a question for me, it's for one of these partners. I'll be sure to reach out to them. We are talking to each other. We're picking up each other's phones. This is what you've asked of us. You're used to companies in this industry not talking to each other. I'll just say it. The big Ram doesn't talk to anyone, people, and you'll know that. But we will. We will talk. We will work. We will do the best we can to integrate with these other products, to bring in data from wherever we can get it. It's all about having a better evaluation tool for our clients. It's about making this industry more efficient and a more efficient workflow so we can all get to better results to improve investor confidence, to improve, company efficiency, to improve our profitability. Let's just get down to it. I'm the MBA. Let's make some more money, right? By having the best tool set possible. Whitson's part of that, and having good data part of that, AKA what we're about to talk to with Energy Domain. So we're going to go ahead and bring Scott on in just a second. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
Welcome to PHDwin Week. So we've been going back and forth for a bit. I'm really excited to have y'all on. I've got an announcement that I want to save for a little bit about this, but for now, a lot of people might not be familiar who is watching this, longtime PHDwin clients. They might not be familiar with Energy Domain. Can you just give us an introduction about y'all for someone that's new to y'all?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a small technology company out of Fort Worth. We started, I guess we were founded about 6 years ago. We have two primary business units right now. We're spinning up a third right now. We'll talk about it a little later. But our first business unit was a marketplace, basically a platform to buy, sell, and trade mineral transactions, right? So that's our marketplace app. And then recently, earlier this year, we released the data product. So the product we've been working on for a few years now. January, we did a soft launch in December. We did a hard launch in January. So we're about 9 months out. We're really trying to flip the script on how energy professionals acquire data. So allowing them to come in and truly only buy what they want or what they need. So we offer really 3 levels of data. We offer a nationwide subscription, which right now is just the lower 48. We'll get to Alaska at some point. We'll get to Canada even, and even Gulf of Mexico eventually. But right now it's lower 48. And then that's one level of the product. The next one is basin level and county level, right? So we even offer down to the county level. We do everything geographically based. People can come in and transact in the product, put their credit card, ACH payment, and just buy data, get access to it immediately down to one county for 1 month.
That's excellent. So let's talk about that a little bit. Y'all started off as a broker, and then y'all got into data production. Why did that happen? What inspired y'all to get into the data production game?
Yeah, so even before Energy Domain, our founders were a part of a group called Mineralware, right? So they exited Mineralware about 2018. During that whole buildup of building Mineralware, which transitioned into Energy Domain in the marketplace, similar product, similar space, if you will, they continue to go out and create these state scripts, create all of this state acquisition of all this data, try to bring this data in to support all this deal flow, right? So as we were bringing this data in to create this deal flow and support that part of the business, we took all that data and we said, well, can we monetize this? Well, I think so, right? So how can we do this? How can we differentiate ourselves against the big incumbents, against, data's everywhere, right? Data's available. So how can we differentiate ourselves? And that's when we really started to build like a full-on SaaS, only buy what you need kind of platform.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, if you don't mind, we would love to see what your platform looks like. If you wouldn't mind sharing your screen, I'll turn off my camera and give us a demo. Show us what you got.
Absolutely. We'll jump into it. Let's see. I'll do the entire screen. I have a small monitor over here. We'll walk through. Here we go. So look, this is the data platform essentially. So you're gonna log in. This subscription is specific for the Permian Basin. So we'll kind of look at this, but I'll kind of jump into the subscription page itself. When you come here, you can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Permian Basin, but really, if I upgrade the subscription, you can kind of when you log in, this is essentially what you get the first time, right? So you're going to log in, you have nothing in your cart, you don't really have anything going on. You have different basins, you can select nationwide, you can even flip this to the counties. Obviously, when you do that, you can see this subscription, this account, if you will, already has the Permian Basin, which encompasses all the counties in the Permian Basin. But you can buy just a single county, single basin, project based, however you want to do this for, in our platform completely. If you complete, check that, and then you come in here, check out. Next thing you know, you get a pop up. You can sit here and just acquire this information, this data right here, and you immediately get access to it. So what I'm going to do is back out of this and get back into the search page. So right here this is kind of where you land after you transact. We've got a pretty traditional set of filters on your left-hand side, all the things you expect: well status, well orientation. We support shapefile uploading if you want to bring shapefiles into the platform. We do an upload well list, which is essentially for the landman side of the business. A lot of landmen out there, they get a well name and a county that it's in, right? That's all they know. That's all they get. They'll be able to import that. We do a fuzzy match, a big, very in-depth algorithm that limits the data to those counties and that state, looks for that well name, and we do a rough match, and we tell you how well the match is. Sometimes it's 70%, sometimes it's 90%, sometimes it's 100%, right? We know that well name exactly in our data. You're able to bring that in, do that full workflow, match those wells, and kind of pull those in. So that's one feature that we have that's really leaning on the land side. People have really been drawn to. From there, we've got just your basic filters, everything you'd expect in kind of a data searching platform. If I hit do search, this is just going to show the basic default filters that we have applied up here. Producing wells, I'll actually reduce that to just horizontal wells, and we'll dig in a little bit. As I sit here and drill in, we'll drill in. You get your table. We got horizontal wells that are producing in the Permian Basin. We'll drill into here, and you can get the wells that'll kind of highlight right here. So this is kind of what you're looking at the well level. You'll see the different well symbols: producing oil, producing gas, producing oil and gas. The orange is going to be ducks, obviously. Blues are permits. So this is kind of what we're working with right now. We do have a few little color by options that we do. We color by operator. We offer a confirmed interval, which is a big feature we recently released. I'd like to really touch on. We're also working with a company out of Houston called NewTek. I think anybody working in the subsurface world kind of knows who NewTek is, but NewTek is a geoscience group that's picking tops essentially and creating a bunch of Z-maps. We acquired NewTek's Z-maps across the whole lower 48, and we've recently completed a big digitization project for all of our directional surveys. So we landed just right at about 200,000 horizontal wells, where we digitized all of the directional surveys, acquired NewTek's layers and their Z-maps, and we landed those wells, right? So we landed those in what we call the confirmed interval. So when you come into here, you're able to kind of, since we colored by this, we're able to kind of open up our little palette right here. And you see what's Wolfcamp A, Lower Sprayberry Shale, Wolfcamp B, got wells in the Dean, the Lower Sprayberry, the Middle Sprayberry, etc. So those are actually directional surveys, the trajectories landing actually in the layers that NewTek has provided us. So we're super excited about confirmed interval, something that we're really leaning into. We do support rig data as well. I'd like to touch on that for a moment. Rig information is great, right? It's a leading indicator of a well coming online. It's a leading indicator of production in the future. But we actually get most of our rig information via satellite imagery. So we have a partnership with several satellite companies that are actually digitizing nightly and taking photos for us, in which we come through and it processes through a big, deep AI algorithm that sits there and detects when a pad has been cleared, when a rig shows up, when a frac crew shows up, etc. So really leaning into the rig information. We don't have a very deep agreement with a bunch of contractors out there. We're doing this all mostly AI driven via satellite imagery. So we're super proud of that, super happy with that. And I'll sit here and do search again real quick to get our table pulled up. So we get our table pulled up, and here we'll kind of look at what we got. We released this product in January, like I said, with about 65 headers. Today we have 96. So in the last 9 months, we continue to add to our data set. We're doing a lot of calculations: first 3 months liquids, first 3 months gas, BOE calculations, 6-to-1. Last month liquids, last month gas, a lot of cumulative proppant. We're doing a lot of continuing to add data to our platform that customers request or customers are asking for. So we're very, very focused on listening to our customers and continue to give them the data that they care about the most. I'll come in here and I'll drill in. We do offer a few small features, which we'll talk about here. You know, we're not just a data platform. We know that we need more, a little bit more meat on that bone. So I'll come in here and I'll open our analytics panel. What this is going to do, super lightweight. We're not trying to compete with PHDwin. I want to make sure that's very clear. But we do allow for a quick option to sit here and run a quick type curve, run a quick forecast. I'll sit here. I grabbed 4 wells. I'll sit here, open this up, run type curve. We offer just a few small parameters right here in which we can drill a type curve right there, export those volumes out, and now you have a type curve that you can go apply to your PUDs if you wanted to, or just maybe get a finger swag if this is something that you should pursue. You should actually pass on to your reservoir engineer to take these wells and actually bring them into PHDwin to do a full scenario, right? So that's kind of where we are there. Our analytics panel. One of the main reasons we're here, Jonathan and I have been working together recently to talk about our export option that we've recently created. So we created a file extension called a .edd PhD file extension. Right here is the PHDwin. So, you know, when you come into the download settings, you're going to be able to actually export a .edd PhDwin file that's going to bring all the wells that you care about, that you're selecting, the wells with their production volumes that we have, and bring them into a file that is natively accepted into PHDwin as of the latest release. If I'm not mistaken, Jonathan, you can correct me, but you guys released that last week, maybe even this week. But this latest version of PHDwin now accepts these native .edd PHDwin files, which we're super excited about. This is part of where we're starting, right? We recently started with NewTek to get their Z maps. We're working with PHDwin to get this file extension. We're going to continue to build and work with partners to really, you know, bridge this entire data to value gap, right? This entire workflow that we're very bullish on. A couple things we'll touch on, a few other features. We do offer AOIs, so these are going to send alerts if you draw an AOI, if you have a track that you care about. You can bring it into the platform, and tomorrow, if there's a new well rig, if you click actually here in the alerts tab, these are the alerts we offer: permits, new rigs, new ducts, new active wells within that AOI, that area of interest. So you bring your shapefiles in, we store those, and we start running deltas every night on anything that's changed within that shapefile. This just stores our shapefiles, any ones that you've brought in. We can be your repo for that, and as well as your API list, which I talked about earlier. This is actually a feature. I'm kind of giving you a sneak peek. I'm in our staging environment. I'm kind of giving you a sneak peek here. This is DataStream Direct. This is our version of a REST API access. We're not really building a REST API. We're building what's essentially a JDBC driver that's going to connect to our backend. So when you create your subscription, say for this account, it's a Permian Basin subscription, you're actually going to download this driver and then be able to talk to our backend to get provision to that actual data, right? To get the provision, get your credentials provisioned to the Permian Basin, because that's what you acquired, right? So this is a JDBC driver. It works natively with Spotfire. It works natively with Python. So we have some setup guides that we're working on. This will be coming out in a few weeks, but DataStream Direct is something we have been heads down working on for about 3 months now, and we're very excited to get this out in the coming weeks. I'll sit here and touch on a couple things in our settings, kind of in the application. If you drill into here, you know, this is just your basic stuff. You can drill into here. You can add seats to your account. So if you're a larger enterprise customer with 10 customers, please reach out to us. Don't use the UI. We'll make an agreement together. We'll work offline to do this. But if you're a small shop with just you and your partner, come in here, create an account, add members, move forward as that. As you add members, as you scale number of seats in your account, you get tremendous discounts. So even scaling to 1 additional seat, you get a 40% discount across the entire platform. So we're not really, again, when I say the entire platform, one thing I want to touch on is we don't have bolt-on features. You pay for the data product, you buy the geographic area you want, and you get everything. So we're very excited about what we're doing here. I do want to touch on kind of how I built out as the VP of product. I'm very passionate about being transparent and talking about what's coming soon, what we're working on. So if you drill into here, we offer this directly in the platform where you come in, what's new, coming soon. This takes you to different tabs here, but essentially it tells you what we're working on, and we're looking for feedback here, right? So DataStream Direct, that's what we just talked about. It's coming soon in the next couple of weeks. We also kicked off what is eventually going to be our 3rd business unit, the Courthouse Records Project. So any oil and gas related courthouse data is going to be coming into the data platform, but we're also going to be building up all courthouse records into clerkrecords.com. Earlier this year, we announced a partnership with one of the co-founders of Texas File named Jason Smith. He's out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've been working closely with Jason. And we're really aggressive on courthouse. We know this is a problem. We're really leaning into artificial intelligence for this project, and we're making great traction. So we do anticipate having our first pass of courthouse data in the data app within the next before the end of the year, I'll say within the next 3 months. So we're very excited about this. We're bringing mineral appraisal data. Everybody goes out and gets their annual mineral appraisals. We're bringing that into the app. So if you buy something like Karnes County, you're going to get the mineral data with Karnes County also in your subscription. We're working on other features, Zoom 2 features, AG Grid. If anybody has ever worked with AG Grid, it's a very powerful grid that offers kind of quick charting and analytics. We're working with AG Grid on that. And we just recently, as in the last week, we kicked off a well spacing project. So we're going to be calculating well spacing based off of binning, and try to understand, show those spacing advantage, spacing current, parent-child relationships, all that jazz that the whole industry loves. That's what we're working on now. This is stuff in the pipe for kind of next, what we think we're going to be working around next. I talked about alerts for the 4 primary ones, but we're also going to be adding alerts for the frac crews. We're going to be adding alerts for new pad construction. We're going to be bringing a small lightweight economics module into here. Again, not competing with PHDwin, but if I give you 5 parameters that allows you to run a quick econ run on a small forecast, does it give you some information if you actually want to pursue this in a robust application like PHDwin? Later, again, longer term, probably later next year, we're going to be working on a lot of these things. And then it shows all the launch stuff. So again, I like to show I'm very aggressive on showing, being very transparent with what we're releasing and why we're releasing it. Here's all of our release notes, bigger features that we're adding. We launched with a dark mode, a dark theme, and we got a lot of requests for a light theme. So we retrofitted the light theme on top of it. Here's confirmed interval, which I talked about earlier. And here's our export to PHDwin, which is kind of why we're here, right? So kind of just transferring that information into the product portal for all of our customers to see what we're releasing, very actively telling everybody what we're releasing and why we're pushing it out. So we're very transparent with that, and we're very excited about it. So outside of that, that's the data platform. Please reach out to us and our team at any given time. We're very transparent what we're building. We're very excited about the data platform, and looking forward to the future.
So that was an excellent demo, Scott. I really appreciate you jumping on and giving us kind of the full run through of what y'all's platform looks like. One thing that you talked about there is now y'all have a native export that we've been working on this year to come directly into PHDwin. I have an announcement for this session right now. He hinted about it, but I've got it. Build 19, the newest build of PHDwin that supports energy domain. It's sitting in my inbox. We're going to put it on the download site on Monday because of all the traffic with PHDwin week. We want to update the website once the conference is done. But if you want to talk to Energy Domain today, reach out to me, events@phdwin.com. I'll kick you the link to Build 19. You can get in there and you can be playing with this today. You can bring down their data today, and you can start integrating with this platform. I'm going to say it, Scott. You can't say it, but I can say it. Yeah, because I need to say this to everyone listening out there. The DRI file, done. They won't change it. 98C file, done. We have heard from them. They will not add more data. Look at all that rich data Scott has. Look at all this rich data Energy Domain has. We're talking to each other. He's on PHDwin week. That data is going to flow into PHDwin. We're going to talk to each other. Any issues that come up, I call the phone and say, hey, Scott, how are we going to get this fixed? How are we going to move it together? We're not pointing fingers at each other. We're working together. We're making this a great platform. This is a big opportunity for y'all out there watching this. You want to be on the cutting edge of the industry. You want to be able to do this analysis in our tool, be able to normalize on, frac proppant, be able to get all the spacing loaded in your data, all that. You need that data, and the data has got to come into the system effectively. And these other platforms, they're just tired of that. They're just running out the clock. I'll just say it. And so that's why we have Energy Domain on. That's why we really appreciate Scott coming on and showing this tool. That's why we like working with a company like Energy Domain that's nimble and fast and aggressive and taking on new technologies. I mean, you heard it. He's launched this in the last year. He turned around and created an export within a couple months to be able to integrate with our system. There's companies that have been working on that for years that can't get something like that done. And Energy Domain did it within a single calendar year. This is an incredible pace of progress. What they're doing is incredibly exciting. We think that data, once it flows into PHDwin, will allow for excellent and reserve analysis. So I just want to say thank you so much, Scott, for working with me this year and for being so willing to build that new format and integrate with our system. Can you talk a little bit about just the bigger picture? What's it, how is it bootstrapping a company like this, and kind of the buck stops with you whenever it comes to like client requests and being open to what the client needs are?
Yeah, it's very challenging, right? So there's a million things we want to build, and to be totally clear, like we also have our own biases, right? I'm a geoscientist by trade. Our CEO is a landman. Our COO is a reservoir engineer, right? So we're all sitting in a room with all the ideas, and we sit here and we talk to customers, and then we just stack rank those ideas. What can we get done? What are our developers and our software team, what are their real skill sets and where can they focus? How do we get the most out that's making the most bang for the buck, right? So we're really pushing that out. We're continuing to talk to customers. I have a personal motive. I meet with 3 customers a week. So every single week I have 3 calls, no matter what. Even on weeks that I have a vacation where I'm out of office 3 days, I find those 2 days that I'm in office to meet with 3 customers. So I meet with 3 customers every week to understand their problems, to get their feedback, and to continue to iterate. So well, not only are we building the big things, we're continuing to refine the small things. We're continuing to refine the old things. We continue to build and trying to make the best product possible.
So another thing I want to ask you about, Scott, I mean, you have all this data from all across the lower 48. And the
Yep.
one thing that we keep running into is that state to state, there is inconsistency. And it's up to y'all to clean this data and put it together and allow for this consistency. Can you just talk a little bit about what this effort is? And a lot of people, I don't think, appreciate how much goes into making quality data come out of a system like Energy Domain.
Yeah. You go to North Dakota, and then you go down to Texas, and then you go over to Louisiana, right? And you're getting different answers across the board. That takes a big normalization effort. It takes a big standardization effort, right? So we basically build this stuff out with a data dictionary. It requires all of us. It's kind of one of the things. It's hard to get AI to do that, right? Because it requires us to actually sit in a room. We sit in a room in Fort Worth, and we actually talk about what this data is that's coming out of North Dakota and how that relates to New Mexico and Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, and where's all this stuff landing, right? Even to some degree, some frac volumes come in barrels, other comes in gallons, right? Understanding even those simple normalizations and ensuring that everything is the same. So you can come in and buy across states, buy across counties, whatever, buy a full nationwide subscription and get and trust that we are doing that due diligence on your behalf to make sure the data is coming in good.
And not only is it coming in good the first time, but y'all got it set up where they can go back in there, they can get the updates easily. We
Yep.
can re-export that file. We can do that iterative steps, across the reserve season to season. So that way people can stay with y'all's platform and move forward in the future and not worry about having to start over, not worrying about there being conflicts down the road, right?
Absolutely. Our data is going to be consistent. If we are making underlying foundational tweaks to the algorithm to our data, whether it be our algorithms or our calculations, we are communicating that directly to customers, so everybody knows if that does change. Yes.
And one thing that excites us as a platform that takes on big data, because that's part of the reason that we have version 3, is to be able to take on hundreds of thousands of wells. Earlier, we had Dwayne Purvis on. He did an evaluation of the entire state of New Mexico recently, right? Like, people want big data. I know of a particular client in Oklahoma. They evaluate every single well in Oklahoma just in case something goes up for sale. They don't have to then go through the package. They just import it in for their other database and they're off to the races, right?
Yep.
But that takes a lot of data. First of all, it takes affordable data, right? That's a big part of it.
Yep.
It takes good, consistent data to be able to do that. And then it takes a data system on our side to be able to process that data and allow you to do those iterations time over time. But it does not work if we cannot work with a vendor like Energy Domain that understands data, willing to create that export that can come in our system, that can really talk well with PHDwin, going through flat files all the time and going through all that. It just creates a real problem for the client that I mean, they're back in the older days in this industry, there was all this extra headcount sitting around these offices. There was armies of techs that were willing to just sit there and churn through the data. But I'll just say it. I've seen it on our end. After COVID, headcounts have gone down. The amount of work that every engineer has been asking to do has gone up. And our thing is, can we spend less time on the data? Can we spend less time flattening files? Can we spend less time verifying and more time building good curves, more time building good economics? Because Energy Domain's done a lot of the work for you. We've done a lot of work working with Energy Domain to bring that into our system. So you're putting less work in like the shopkeeping, so to speak, of the business and more into creating value for your companies. And I know you're talking with, as you said, you're talking with clients every day, and this is what they're asking you for, right, Scott? To be more efficient, to be able to do more with less, right?
Absolutely. We're turning things around, feedback around, especially small feedback. Somebody wants recently, I'll give you an example. We offer, when you log in and you zoom in, there's a color by option that has, operator and reservoir and confirmed interval. Last week, we got a request for us to color the entire stick by something because they're accustomed to one of the incumbents having all of their permits be dashed lines. Like, I'm like, okay, do you actually care about dashed lines, or do you just care about making sure that you can understand in the middle of the wellbore which one's a permit and which one's not? And he said, that's what I care about. So we actually, within 24 hours, I sent them a GIF of it working in dev. I was like, it'll be out next week. He's like, oh, this is amazing. You just solved so many of my problems we can't live this enough. So yes, we are incredibly fast, incredibly nimble. We're a small group. Our entire software group is about 12 people. We actually have a guy coming on next week to help me. I'm a one-man show for the product group, so I'm super excited to have a new guy coming on to help me out. I could use a break sometimes, but and have a new brain to rack his brain with me in a room, right? So once we get in office, we can solve more problems, get even more efficient. Yep.
And so then we end up on the other side of that because we have these big consulting firms and these banks and all them that run PHDwin. We have, you have to turn in SEC quality reserves that are held to certain standards. They're going to be audited in certain ways. And so we have to be a little bit more careful in our processes. We can't iterate quite as quickly because we have to do all this verification. We have to double check PRMS. We have to we have to talk to leaders like John Wright that we had on yesterday, like Larry Connor that we had on yesterday, to make sure that we're moving in that right direction. And so there's a balance here. Y'all have the nimbleness to be able to get to that data and present it in a way that people want, but then we're going to have the consistency to make sure that the reserves that are calculated with that data are up to the highest standard in the industry. And between the two, as we work back and forth, we're going to create that really good balance so our clients don't get cut on the cutting edge, right? They get the cutting edge without getting the cuts from it, right? And that's what people want. They don't want to be guinea pigs. None of my clients want to be guinea pigs. Heck, it's taken them years to get them into version 3, and we've had it out for 5 years now. And some are still emailing me, I think this is the year I'm really going to get into it, right? And so this is one of those things where no one wants to go first. And so y'all have gone first. Y'all have stuck y'all's neck out to deliver this product. And y'all saw it. It's a great looking product. They're giving a lot of data. They're being very transparent about what their business model is for it. And so if you want to have any information, down at the bottom of the screen, energydomain.com. I'm sure Scott would love to talk to you. I'm sure the team over there would love to talk to you about how they can serve your needs. And, then reach out to me. Look for the download on the website on Monday for Build 19. You'll be able to pull in that file, and then boom, we're off to the races. We're moving forward as an industry to be a better place. That's what PHDwin Week is all about, is techniques and processes and partnerships to move the industry forward. And I think this is a real great one right here, Scott, don't you? I mean, I've been loving working with you this year. So
yeah, this has been a pleasure to work with you the last few months and your team. I can't say enough good things about you guys at PHDwin and what we've been able to do so fast in the last few months. Yep.
Well, we appreciate that. Well, if there anything else, Scott, you want to give people to sign off, to give people to think about as far as Energy Domain?
Yeah, guys, we're building fast. We're iterating. We're giving the people what they want. Please reach out to myself, our CEO, Ben Heinzelman, our COO, Malcolm Smith, or our head of the data platform, head of sales, Jerry Howell. Like we're available, and we're continuing to listen and build and create relationships and create partnerships. So please reach out to us anytime.
Well, we appreciate it, Scott. Thank you for coming on. So
Thank you.
after this session, we are going to